Everyone to another episode of Kid Lit International. Today I have with me Karen Hendriks from Sydney, Australia, Lauren from Brisbane, Australia, and Chris from Turkey, all the way across oceans with us. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Today we're talking about a topic which everyone loves and everyone wants, and that is awards, book awards or otherwise. There's awards for many, many different um, areas, many different genres. We get them for many different reasons. Um, I know myself, I've had a few awards and I've been nominated for others. And it's great and it's really uplifting. Where does it take us, though? What happens when we get the awards or when we don't get the awards? So it's a good topic to discuss. Karen, we'll start with you because I know you've had two, three of your books have got awards.
Yeah. It's also not about getting the awards. That does uplift you, but because it's so competitive, it's actually really good even to be long listed or shortlisted. Even if you don't win, it throws your name out there and it validates you and you feel like your craft is recognized. You shouldn't have to feel that way. You should believe in yourself enough that you don't need that. But it really does give you a lift, especially when you're emerging. So my first book with you, Go Away, Foxy Foxy, even though it didn't win an award, it got shortlisted for the Rubery Book
Yep.
Awards in the UK. And that was a huge moment for me as starting out. I was like, oh, it really is as good as I think it is. And then Feathers was shortlisted for the same award. And although it's not an award, it was recommended by someone in the industry to be read by Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York. So that was a really big, you get a secret email and they say, would you like Fergie to read your book? If you do, you have to send it to this special address and not share it with anybody. And you don't know. And then you just get a little thing saying the Duchess is going to read your story tomorrow. So that was huge because I was like, little me in Australia and Sarah Ferguson in the UK, I'm like, oh my God, she's going to read my book. And I actually had to go to a school that day, so I couldn't witness it live. But that um, really got like a bit of a light on you. Like it doesn't give you contracts or anything, but you feel like, okay, I'm on track. And Feathers also won a Forever Ability Award. And that is a niche award for books that help children in unique ways. And that was really, really special. And it also got commended, um, highly commended in the ACT Notables one year. So that was rather special. Home won an Abe Award in Melbourne, which was really special. And our Shell Harbour last December received a commended award at the New South Wales Society of Women's Writers. And that was a huge thrill because it was the only self-published book, I think, in the room. And I was like, I don't really have a chance when I looked at the other names that were nominated. So I went just thinking, rejoice in the fact you're shortlisted, go and enjoy the luncheon, but don't expect any more. So to actually get commended and get a third, I was like, wow, because Pamela Rushby was in there and Julie Thorndike, and then there was Libby Gleeson and me and a few others. And I actually got third. I was like, oh, so that was good because you're recognized by your peers because your friends and family can tell you you can write, and you go, yeah, I know I can write, but how well can I write? And awards sort of give you that little warm, fuzzy hug and like, yeah, I'm doing okay. Yeah. So that's what it's good to enter. Um, but I would also advise you to enter with an open heart, not worry about the outcome, and just go, oh, okay, I've done it. For me, it's really hard even finding when awards are open and when you can enter. I feel some awards are more open to everyone than others. Like I think there's certain awards, if your illustrator, like if the creatives aren't all Australian, you can't enter and things like that. So you've got to know the rules. Um, and it also costs money to enter. So you really, unless you've got a huge budget, you pick and choose what you enter. Because even if they say, can you send 5 copies of your book, which that's a lot of cost, plus the weight of the books and where you're sending them, and the entry fee. So make sure you read the rules and make sure you know what it costs, and just have an open heart and go, I did it. I've recognized myself by choosing to do this, and that's enough.
Hmm.
Yeah, I hope that helps.
Absolutely. It's that self-belief, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. And going into it with that open heart, as you say, regardless of the outcome,
Yeah,
just doing it, just doing it. And to me, getting an award, or, even if you are shortlisted, longlisted, to me, that's more important than getting an Amazon #1.
yeah,
The awards are, now people will go, no, it's not, because some people are really into that. But that's just for me personally. Awards are just a totally different world as a total, because you are judged
yeah.
on
And
what you,
it's like their books to win awards.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
really important to publishers as well as creatives. It's
yeah,
a good one. So even though the book might not get a big sell run, if it gets recognition, that's
yeah,
kudos for the publishing house in a different way.
yeah, absolutely it is. Chris, what's your experience?
Um, Shock for most of it, to be honest, because it was my first book and had been out 3 months, and suddenly I'm winning awards, um, which was really strange. And it is exactly as Karen says, it's that validation almost. I knew it was shortlisted for best book cover, and that's the only one I wanted to win because one of my friends had done the book cover, so it was validation for them and almost a thank you for thanks for doing such an amazing job. I didn't really expect it to turn into me winning 4 awards on the same night, but I can live with it. Um, and it was a really strange feeling because I don't think I've ever actually won anything since I was at school. So all those years later, to get that really, it is that fuzzy feeling and almost a little bit overwhelmed. And then a couple more awards came in over the next year or so, all of which really surprised me. Because like so many of us, it's kind of, yeah, but I can't write. Why are you reading that? And so when other people are going, yes, you can, this is really good, it does mean a lot and it keeps you going. And being able to look up on the wall and see them every so often has a really positive effect. Does it make a huge difference to sales? It's impossible to know. Um, some people will look for it, others won't. It's lovely to always be able to forever now put award-winning author because no one can ever take that away. And so it does help that you can go, look what I've done. And yeah, I'm very careful because there isn't a huge budget. So paying to enter some of the awards just really isn't an option. And especially then when you see where they're based, and as Karen says, getting the books into Turkey anyway is difficult. Sending them out again, they probably never get there. So you do have to judge, A, can I afford it? B, what is actually the hidden cost, not just the entry fee?
Yeah.
There are other awards where there is no entry fee. And certainly the first awards I won was a public vote. And so to win it, getting votes from people I've never heard of really was quite special. It's rather than it being four or five people judging it, it was the whole world could vote. And that, I think that meant a lot more because you could see why I've sold that many copies of it. And it seems though almost everyone that read it voted for it as well. So when you get that kind of feedback, it is that warm, fuzzy feeling and that absolutely brilliant. Oh, look, I've got an award. I've won something. Yay. Sadly, not the lottery, but I'm working on that as well.
There's awards, like you said, is you can say you're an award-winning author, and no one can take that away from you. It's yours. You've got it, and it means the world, doesn't it? It means
Yeah,
everything, and it is that validation. And even though you have self-belief in what you do, you really believe in what you do, that really just confirms it. And because you do have moments where you're up on a high and when you're not so much, and you're always on that roller coaster as a creative. So, Lauren, tell us about your experience. What are your
Um,
thoughts?
Thoughts on this one. I want to start with I think of myself 5.5 years ago when it comes to this topic, because I remember starting in a journey thinking, I don't belong here. I can't compete with these people. I'll look at these authors with all these titles and these and everything. Then I started my journey, and little bit by little bit, I got to where I'm kind of going. But I understand why people, like you all were saying with validation, feel it's kind of like it's nice to have, because now that I am where I am, it's not necessary. Shh, don't tell anyone. Um, and I get it, because there's, for someone who's predominantly in film at the moment, I do have, I've got 1.5 novels. I did okay and publishable by Queensland Writers. I didn't get shortlisted or longlisted, but the feedback was the beta readers all enjoyed it, but it was just a cruisy beach read. It wasn't gonna get no Oscar anytime soon. But so I've got I remember in my beginning of my journey. Sorry, just I have a point. I will get there. Because I didn't secure any of those traditionally published contracts through those bigger names, I felt I wasn't worthy. I felt I couldn't write. But now that I've kind of immersed myself amongst all these professionals who's given me advice by saying, well, actually, you probably didn't get published because they were at their quota for that genre, or you probably didn't get published because you're competing with a bigger name. You probably didn't get published. Like, I know all the reasons why now. It's not because my stories are bad or I couldn't write. There was so many other things. But when I started entering competitions and getting that validation, the other end of the spectrum was, or the other end of the side of that is when a producer tells you that those awards don't mean anything. Like, it's not the Nichols, it's not Page, it's not Slam Dance, it's not Boston Film Festival. Yes, you were a finalist or you took out this particular award. It doesn't mean anything. So for me, it's now that I'm actually kind of immersed in the industry a bit more. If you do win your awards, it doesn't matter what award it is. Use it for promotion. Use it to prove that you're in the game and you're willing to work. Use it to get your name out there. Use it to network. Use it to do all these things. But you might come across someone one day who went, well, that's nice, but it ain't the Oscars. So I feel for everyone, because I get it. It's like sometimes it's the validation. It's this proves you can do it. Whereas playing the game long enough, you'll realize you don't need it.
Yeah. Do you think that's more like what you're saying is more relevant in the film industry though, that you're immersed in at the moment, as opposed to book awards?
Yeah, possibly, because let's face it, I don't have the traditionally published base of content to compare it to. Whereas I have a lot of films being, I guess, requested by enough producers, and I've had enough one-on-one meetings to sort of say, okay, I know where I sit in that food chain. But because the publishing industry, with the amount of contracts that are offered, it's like 1% of total submissions. It's hard to know, and I agree with Karen where she said I was the only self-published book in that competition, because self-published sometimes isn't the easiest to get your book into as well, right? So it's really hard to sort of, I guess, embellish a bit on that part, because you got some competitions who favour the traditionally published. I don't want to get cancelled, so maybe stop me talking.
Another award, Lauren, that's really important is the Children's Book Council of Australia.
Yes.
That's hugely important to any kid lit creative in the industry. And that means book sales and exposure. And I would say that's huge.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I've never entered it, but I haven't been eligible, but it is the Nirvana land of awards. Would you agree? Like yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, I don't have the amount of traditionally published books to compare. I don't.
Chris, is it the same over your way? Do you have a specific, like we have the CBCA, do you have anything like that over your way, the UK?
Yeah, I mean, there are the big ones, but I mean, I looked into the Booker Prize just for a laugh, really, because there's no way I can afford that entry fee. You can buy a small house for it. So it's, yeah, you've got the ones that have got the big name, but you tend to find that they're incredibly expensive to join. It is very, very tilted towards traditional publishers. Um, and I don't really see that changing for a little while. Eventually it will do, because the publishing industry itself is going to have to change, because it's not keeping up with the amount of content out there, or the amount of different genres, different books that people want to read. There just aren't enough publishing houses in the world to do it. So that playing field hopefully will level out, but we're still a distance away from it. And yeah, I mean, it would be great to get up there and go, oh, look, I've won this worldwide award. But to be honest with you, is the money you're going to pay out on it really worth it? And I've done a lot of research into that, just because, having seen it on one of the awards, I thought I really want to see where we're at and what some of these awards will be. And it was around the same time as the almost scandals of the book listings in certain newspapers around the world were suddenly coming out as, oh, they're paid for, and they're not actually true. So you kind of, I think one of the reasons I'd never won an award or even tried to win an award, throughout my career, was because too often it felt, yeah, you've just bought yourself an award. And there are certain industries where that is blatant. And I can't say them because I'll never get another job ever again. Um,
But
but I think this is,
yeah, I agree with you,
yeah,
Chris.
and I just
Yeah.
think there are certain industries, and the people know. And when you see high entry fees and things like that, you start going, is this really what it's meant to be? Because how can it be a proper competition saying the best book of the year if you've just excluded 95% of the books? And that's what worries me all over the world. But as Karen says, there are some that are definitely worth it and still have that credibility. But it is a credibility issue when you're cutting out entry to so many people. So it's eligibility criteria all over the world, but it's still being used really to make people money. And as usual, it's not the writer making the money out of it.
There's
Yep.
also I think in Australia we've got some really good awards like the CBCA, um, that are really important within our niche industry here. And you've also got your Prime Minister's Literary Awards and your Premier Awards, like your state Premier's Awards, and they're huge for recognition. And I would have to say, I've just had a look, and I'm pretty certain it's not the Premier's, it's the Prime Minister's Literary Awards. And one of my favourite authors got an award. So I was like, yes, because I love his work. And that's Peter how do I say his last name? Carnivus. He's in Queensland and he's so talented. And I just love what he does. And so I was like, oh, you deserve it. You're so good. So sometimes it's not you getting the reward, but it's nice to see who you know is good get the award, if you know what I mean. Like, and it goes, yeah, your stuff's great. You deserve that. Like, I love that. And another person, who's good at entering awards and wins, but whose work is exquisite, is Tanya McCartney. And the ACT people are into awards. They're on the money. They know how to enter and which ones. I'm not awake enough to know all of them or what I should be entering or what I should be doing. But I do know it gives any level of a creative a lift, whether you're just bursting on the scene and you get one, or you've been plugging away for 20 years and you achieve one. Like they do help, especially in Australia because we're so niche and our industry is so small and kidlit's even smaller. So if you get anything in that field, it is special. But then you've got your people like Jackie French who are phenomenal. And like she's just won an award again, I think, but she deserves it. She's just so good at what she does. And that's just competition, and that's how it rolls too, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, there's that opens up a whole lot of other conversations that we don't have time for. Chris, any last words from you? Enter awards, don't enter awards.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing to be aware of, there is a skill to entering an award. It's not just sending your book in. And this goes with every industry, not just the publishing industry. How you present your entry to it actually is the difference between whether or not you will win or lose. It's not just about your book. There's a lot more almost coming up with taglines and giving people a hook. So actually entering them is a bit of a marketing campaign on its own. So do be aware it's not just a case of 5 minutes, enter it. You do need to sit down and put some time and thought into it if you're going to make the most of it.
Yeah, yeah, very true. Lauren, last words from you?
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off what Karen said because I interviewed Pat Chevington on my YouTube channel. Quick plug. But I loved how he won the award on Australia Day for all the work he does. So he illustrates a lot with the Australian bush, but it's his awareness of the Australian bush that he got this massive environmental award. And so for me, it's not just the book awards, it's what can come out of your book. It's massive. But look, I just know what it's like to be that unknown going, I just want some sort of validation. But play in the sandpit long enough, because every opportunity I've got has not come from an award win. Recently, I have won awards that have the clout, but they're not the ones securing me the interviews or the development producers. They're not the ones securing that. That's just a nice way of me marketing myself to say, hey, look what I can do. Yeehaw. But anyone who's watching this who might feel they need it, just network, get to know people. A lot of my opportunities have come from that, not award wins.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we are going to end on that note. Great advice once again from all of you. So if anyone is out there and wanting to enter awards, choose carefully, think about them, look at your market. Why are you doing it? There's so much more involved than what we think. So thank you everyone again for your insights, and we'll chat again next week.
Thank you.